Now the doctor-patient relationship changing from emotional to commercial. Now we have to protect in this world. So let us understand something about indemnity or professional insurance. How do I choose it? May I call upon stage the moderator for next session, Dr. Sanjay Deshpande and Dr. Kaushik Shah.
So welcome to the next session, which is as important as the previous ones. So I call upon Dr. Keshamurthy to enlighten us on uh, the insurance to be taken through IMA or local body medical association.
Thank you, sir. Respected Chairperson, seniors, and my dear colleagues. In the present healthcare, we are exposed to so much of medico-legal problems now that any decision you make, we have a life-altering consequence on that patient. Even if you are a very careful and a skilled surgeon, you are bound to have some legal scrutiny at some point of time. The data shows that there are around 5.2 million cases which are filed in the consumer court for medical negligence or documentation errors. So that is the amount of quantum of cases which are being filed, and all of them would face this situation at some point of time. So it is better that we have some protection for this, and that is why this professional indemnity insurance came into being. Why did this come is because the Consumer Protection Act, which was passed in 1986, the United Nations passed a resolution that world over there has to be an act to protect the interests of the consumer. So following that United Nations resolution, the Indian government passed the Consumer Protection Act in 1986. It is for better protection of the consumers and also to create bodies and codes to deal with all these things. But at this point of time, the section 2 did not include medical profession in 1986. Till the landmark judgment in 1995 in the Supreme Court, which was between Indian Medical Association versus VP Shanta and others, where there was a long three-judge bench pronounced this judgment, and they included medical profession under section 2(1), which made medical profession as a service. So once that is done, you are liable for all these court cases and all these things. So that is how the importance of professional indemnity came into being. So it is not if, but when you may face a claim. So all of you are liable to. So why do we need this? Is because, as I told you, the increase in the number of medical legal cases, you have to have legal protection against claims and also cover negligence and documentation errors. It was in 1992, before the Supreme Court judgment, Kerala chapter of the Indian Medical Association started something called as a Professional Protection Scheme in Kerala. And after that was started, following that, the Indian Medical Association brought this scheme as the National Professional Protection Scheme, with the objective to protect the members and help them in case of litigation during their professional practice. But this is only applicable to members of the Indian Medical Association. It's not applicable to all the doctors. You have to be a member of the Indian Medical Association to get this, and any claim within the jurisdiction of the Republic of India is only entertained, and the membership is only for the first year is 3,000 rupees. I'll show later on how it decreases. The unique features of this scheme is that you have the help of the Indian Medical Association friends at the time of need, which you do not have in the other private insurance. And the litigations are fought up to the Supreme Court, and the office bearers of this would be there to help you at every stage. And there's a vast data bank with the Indian Medical Association of the medical legal cases which have been fought. So that's the advantage of this scheme. It covers the criminal cases, civil cases, consumer, human rights commission, complaints before medical council, women's commission, and the Lok Adalat. You have to have how to join this scheme. You should be a member of the Indian Medical Association, and you have to apply to the state branch, who the president and secretary will vote your membership, and after it is verified by the national IMA, they will enroll you as into the National Professional Protection Scheme. The first year you will have to pay 3,000 rupees. If you do not have a claim, the second year it will become 2,900. Like that, it reaches 2,500 in fifth year. But when you have a claim, it will restart at 3,000 again. And it provides you protection of 10 lakhs in a single case. And you can have what is called as enhanced protection scheme, which can assure you till 50 lakhs, but you will have to pay 10,000 as membership fee. That option is also, and you can take multiple, not one, you can take two to have more protection. These are the advantages of the IMA professional scheme. You have a vast data bank. There are no payoffs and settlements for even small sums. The interest of the profession is of paramount importance, and the scheme is not a party there. So there's a less chance of compensation, because if it's an insurance company, they deem it to be a company and the compensation awarded are much more. And the legal reply are drafted by the doctors generally, and there's no exploitation of profession and no higher premium for high risk category or anything, and the help of the IMA. Whereas the insurance, it is all dependent. They will always want to have off the court settlement, and they will tell you confess your negligence, because they don't want to lose more money. They don't want to lose money on the advocates. So they will try to do out of the court settlement. When you have a case, you just have to write to them, provide all the documents within a week or 15 days to the IMA branch, and they have the panel of advocates who will deal with all these cases. Other than this national IMA, you have the local associations also running this. The Association of Medical Consultants in Mumbai have a large number of members who have enrolled into it, and they are running the professional indemnity. And the IMA Kerala chapter and the IMA Karnataka chapter also runs this as a separate state chapter professional protection schemes. The good thing about the Association of Medical Consultants is they have taken it as a group. But when you enroll, they give you an individual certificate, and they have got a lot of advantages in that the cashless service payment to the advocates is more than the other. If you compare to others, it is very high. They say it is more than 200% when you compare to the others. And they have covered the cosmetic procedures at an extra premium, and the provision for compromise settlement is only in appropriate cases that the association will decide about that. And here they have, you can have till 25 crore, but they have the premiums divided into based on your risk category. The physicians, surgeons, plastic surgeons, cosmetic surgeons. So the premiums will vary between the number, the sum you are insured, and also what is the category which you are opting for. Kerala state chapter, it is similar to what I mentioned to the national chapter, but the entry fee and is a bit less than what is the national chapter. Similarly, in Karnataka state chapter, here you have an annual admission. Apart from the admission fee, you have to pay annually 500 rupees as membership, and there's something called fraternity contribution. Is when there are cases which they have to do payouts that year, they will distribute to all the members of that protection scheme. The Association of Southern Neurologists and the North Zone chapter have tried to tie up with a third-party provider called CoverU, which is a Gurgaon-based company, who is trying to. This is basically a third party. It's not an insurance company. They are trying to give at a lesser cost. That is what they claim, because they have a lot of members becoming in a group, they are telling that we will give the insurance at a lesser cost. But there are, I think we have spoken a lot about this in our National Association meetings we had called in. There is some amount of commission which is involved in this. It's because he would not do it free. So those hidden charges are not being revealed. And there are some complaints which are come because they not only promote this, they also promote car insurance, so many other insurance. So they are not transparent as of now. And there's one more called the Indian Medico Legal Consulting Services, which have got zones which are divided and the headquarters. These are also doctors who offer you services regarding the medico legal or even for NABH accreditation. They help you in all these things. They have got headquarters in Delhi, Kolkata, Pune and Bangalore. So you can go onto their website and get enrolled and then they will offer you services. This is another local association which is doing this. So this is the professional protection scheme. I think most of you would be having the professional indemnity, either the private insurance or through the national IMA. Thank you. No, IMA is not IMA, Himachal, Uttarakhand, they have some of the branches. Karnataka is not covered. Kerala chapter is not covered. Nashville is not covered. Regarding this, what important aspect of these insurance is not on cost basis, but also on for example, now you take a pay. Something else is doing this year. 5 years down the line, you retire. After the retirement, some gains will not be people unless you are making insurance company at the time of it.
Sorry?
No, that time you don't know whether the claim is going to arise. But generally, they don't entertain the claims after 2 years. 2 years the debt. No, the courts can permit you. The courts will permit you after 2 years also.
Civil cases, court can control the delay.
Yeah. Court can condone the delay after 2 years
So
also.
it can happen. So we one case that suppose you have an insurance, you have a patient who is likely to be troublesome, you inform the company at that moment that this may happen. That is done to a job that. Even in the case company, patient files, you don't intimate the company at that time, something happens down the line and you are not insured, so much to pay.
No, that is there.
But Jaideep, on what basis you are likely to inform the company? Is it your prediction or is it?
Matter you find can be changed to a letter to them that might happen.
No, but if that is certain that if you are not insured, you will not get. During that phase, if you are not insured during that period, you will not get it.
You are insured at that
So
time.
if you retire and you don't renew it, you will not get a claim. If you have retired and you have not renewed the premium, you can renew, but if you have not done it, you will not get a claim.
One more thing, sir. Because it happens when the person decides to not that particular
No, how do you know? How do you know it's going?
Hello. Hello.
It's legal terms that can be taken.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next going probably on private practice by Anup.
Hello. The next speaker, your point is very well taken. That if you have any issue with the patient and at that moment you think that it has settled down, you better inform the insurance company that, because most of the time that you come to know that he has created some trouble and somehow it has stopped. So these are the potential cases and you should inform. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, respected seniors, my dear colleagues. I will thank Dr. Desai sir, Dr. Sabni sir, Dr. Rajesh, Dr. Abhijit and the whole Western USI for inviting me to this beautiful place, to this beautiful conference. And I call this as a temple of knowledge where I always come and learn something. Today I am going to talk about my young colleagues. When they pass urology, what they should do, that's always a question in their mind. I am going to talk in favor of government practice, because I am in the government practice.
He is Dr. Anup Kumar Gupta.
Arun Kumar Gupta.
Dr. Anup Kumar Gupta.
Hello. Hello. Your topic is related to indemnity insurance. Hello. Can I invite Dr. Srenik? Srenik, you come here and start the topic. Meanwhile, you will settle down. So I am inviting Dr. Srenik. How much to insure? This is very important. Because in the previous slide it's only 10 lakh, you have to ask multiple. So what should be the maximum thing?
Here.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm always, the teacher for all of us, Dr. Amar Desai, all chairpersons and respected friends. Now I'll start with indemnity. Yes, few decades back, we used to hear that in US somebody has claimed this is happening. But I think whatever happens in US, actually after a decade or two, does come here. So we have to be prepared, and now actually this is a reality. This has been happening almost every day. I would say that. I can only say that we would have till now got about 35 cases for the expert opinion. I'm just trying to show you what has been happening. And invariably, whether this insurance is fine, believe me, this is just to protect. But I think what is my first message in this talk will be, try to be good and try to save your colleagues. The first message and the foremost. Many times it will happen. I can just tell you, before a week, we had a patient who had VVS. She came and then they would always ask, sir, was it because of the previous surgery? I said, no, not necessarily. Could be because of, there could be a lot of hesitation, there could be a lot of difficulties, and it could be medically whatever the best effort it is possible. You may get many times a call, even on table. I think last 2 weeks back, we had somebody was doing endometriosis and he had a bilateral ureter where / bladder was opened up. You may get called and probably reach there, try to analyze, try to do the proper work, and then because if any complications would happen, ultimately we don't want this insurance, or even though we may have this insurance, we don't want to really claim that. We don't want to come under that. So again, I think it is important. I can give you a few examples. Probably you would be. I remember one of our colleagues, urologist, had a uterine lower intake. He was doing ureteroscopy. There was an avulsions, and unfortunately, that the patient, the relative, were a Supreme Court judge, and there was. See what happened. That is what we need to understand. There was the unbearable warrant was there, and he had to go out of the town for some days. Then the case came to us. We had on paper written that during any we always go back to the literature. In any ureteroscopy, like 0.17% there are chances of avulsions. We had given that, and I think it's good. So what I'm trying to tell you is, always try to save your colleagues. Always, there could be, you can always find out the fault if you wish. But I think it is better not to really say anything about anybody, whomsoever else. I think that's the first message. Rather than really claiming or having a bigger and bigger amount of this, I think we should try to save our colleagues. So now let's go to this. Well, this is whether it is private, what Arup would have said, or it is like a professional. Already, I think Keshav has already very well said. We all, I think, probably as a professional, the super specialty, probably our Gujarat AMA or the Gujarat Medical Association is already giving some, I think 50 lakhs rupees for the super specialty. 2 claims you can have, probably 1 crore rupees. But, and I think we need to pay every yearly some 3,000 rupees or so. That is what is being said. So it has been really good. If any one of you is really not having, please have it. That is the first thing I would say. This is something we need to have something for the backup. But I think if we really go that, this is always going to give you something at the back of mind. Nowadays, a lot of wrong claims are also coming. Why this is required? Even I myself have got this. Somebody, I got a notice that we did a lithotripsy on left side. The patient is claiming my stone is still there on the right side. See, understand? Fortunately, see the point over here, there was no problem. We were not supposed to pay anything, but it gives you a lot of harassment. You need to have your lawyer who has to reply, who has to go to the. We did not need to go to the court, but you will have. You also, it's a physical and mental harassment. Mental in that sense, you will always go on what is happening. So nowadays, this kind of claims are coming up. So be prepared for that, and that is why indemnity is required. It really gives you mental peace and peace of mind, protection against the someday. See, if somebody is telling, if you are operating, definitely you are going to have some complications. I doubt that anybody is sitting anywhere in the probably can say that I never have any complications. Probably either not operating or maybe something else is different. But I think so. Complications are likely to happen, but better we know it earlier and better we try to tackle it at the best. That should be our goal. So this is another, I think this lady, not lady, but actually the doctor, the gynecologist, she did one, this is one, I am giving you a few examples to understand what can happen. It is not something, we may not have done anything wrong, but still you will be under the liability. That is the point. She is a very young gynecologist. She had some patient. She did a hysterectomy on table, as I said many times, like endometriosis or something. It might be stuck up. So she, while doing lap hysterectomy, there was a lot of adhesion, sigmoid bladder, everything was stuck up, and then I think she felt like post-operative third day patient had a little abdominal distension. So she got CCT done, and there was like some colonic injury was there. She called the GI surgeon. He did laparotomy. Some fistula was there. So in short, there was some injuries were there. She probably handled very well, but still at the end of it, the patient's relative at the time was pretty good. Patient is completely all right today, but after 6 months, she is getting a phone call, harassment. Pay this amount 50 lakhs rupees, otherwise we'll do something wrong. And then at that time, I think the case came. We had just found out that this kind of fistulas are possible. We have tried to give her, but forget about the expert opinion. They are otherwise also harassing her. She died up in that manner. This is nowadays patients go break your hospitals. They try to even injure the doctor. So I think the scenario is changing. Probably 2 years back, 4 years back, patient will come and probably just say, "Sir, you are a god." But now the scenario is completely changed. So we need to be very careful about that. Lot of, I think nowadays invariably in newspaper you will be saying, what compensations? 43 lakhs, 1 crore. What amount? I think I really believe if there is a road traffic accident, like something has happened, anywhere, any calamities has happened, normally what is being paid is not 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs or beyond that. But if something is like any liability, and what the PMJY, right, Rohit or somebody has said, what are the normal charges are we getting? Somebody is done PCNL, will be getting 20,000, 30,000 rupees or whatever surgery, and you ended up with some complications, and then the court will put any amount. So that is the reason why we need to have a higher indemnity, because it can take you on any day. It can end up in a different. So there are so many examples. I am sure all of us would be seeing this. Now, yes, how to avoid? I think this is a better thing rather than really again having a higher and higher indemnity. We must, I think, presume and rather than think about what is like somebody thinking that there is a ureteric stricture, if like upper ureteric stone, somebody is trying to do semi-rigid ureteroscopy, some like certain gray zones where you should really think about before really doing the stricture urethra. If you are thinking there could be a problem, if there is a like long-term, if you need a transpubic, very posterior So you need to really explain about every procedure before you really do that. Then recurrences, yes, you do need to explain to the relative about everything. Like if somebody is, I'm sure Dr. Kulkarni may not like to really go ahead like anybody would be doing the VIU, should have probably go and do the flash catheterization. But at least if you are doing for a small stricture, you must explain them that you will require post-operative rather than somebody is putting it afterwards. Same thing as I said, intraoperative. If something wrong has happened, I think it can happen. Like if you are trying to do ureteroscopy and something has like injury that happened, do explain definitely, and you must probably on paper also put it down and explain communication with the relatives and the documentation. Documentation is very important even for the afterwards. We just received another somebody did a PCNL in 3 hours. The patient died. Whatever is the reason, he has already put there was a like pelvic stone was removed very well. Most of you, fortunately, X-ray ultrasound was normal. She might have a, but unfortunately in between 3 hours there was no note, and then there was a problem. Somebody said, okay, this has happened. Then I think the physician came. They ultimately put it was a cardiac arrest, but why it happened? So I think this everything tells us the documentation, what has been already said. Do constant whatever has happened on paper, on table, even post-operatively, all notes are very important. So as I already said, the documentation follow the standard protocols. Don't, and inform about this. If any trouble, to the insurance company also if you are like putting anything. And in conclusion, I think to our scientific ethical practice, what has been already said, we should be having completely transparency in explaining to the patient and the relatives, and documentation is must. Indemnity amount, what my topic is, I think like 50 lakhs to insurance, I believe like 1 crore. Somebody, I think one of the took even 5 crore from the private insurance. He paid about 6,000 rupees. But I really don't think go on adding probably this. You need to have a probably this much. I believe that is a good enough. And video recording fearless, yes. And risk level, depending on what kind of solo practice hospital across institute you need to probably do. It is not the volume of workload, but at least do a good and probably the complete work rather than doing a more number of work. 50 lakhs to 1 crore is good enough. And for the premiums, yes, always don't miss out that. And so take home is, yes, we must have an insurance of this amount. It can always be higher, but make sure that we don't end up in a complication. If at all, we try to handle it in a basic manner. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I want to put 3 things in the mind. One, that consider every patient as a potential litigant. So, the moment you think that way, the antenna will start. Yes, as you have said, this patient is creating this problem, he is getting unusual difficult questions, he is asking about lot of money or this lot of cards. So, you will get lot of information who can be potential litigants. One. Second, you should develop a very good communicative skill. So that you can understand what is happening in patient's mind and you appropriately answer that question. And third, if anything happens wrong, you never approach the patient with a guilt feeling. Complications can happen, you have managed the complications, you have done all the possible things, but do not go with a guilt mind that yes, I have committed a mistake. The moment you communicate that yes, you have committed a mistake, the thing will start falling on your head. So please do not, and if you are not in a mind, call your colleague, let him communicate, but don't go with a guilt mind to the patients and relatives.
And nowadays, I think we'll be seeing that many times patients are coming with a phone, they are doing recording. Make sure about that. Yes. Whatever you are saying, they will record. And I think this we should be careful. Just make sure about it. No, we should ask either they have to delete that if you have seen that, you don't allow to definitely. You can can you keep your two and more? Yes.
Sorry?
Yeah, please.
So one thing is you told about The problem is that even though they ensure like the insurance for 50 lakh will have for there's a fixed panel of lawyers. So one of my colleague has happened to have this problem, and because there's a full panel of lawyers. You don't have the freedom.
I agree, but what is wrong with that lawyer?
For example, I'm getting a private insurance that you don't have a choice to make, that they choose a lawyer. See, those panel lawyers, they are not that, you would be like individual. So how do you choose?
I think
Hello.
in that
Wait,
choice,
I'll answer the question.
I have like two experience. The lawyers are too good. You don't have to go a single time for anything, and that way everything because you know that nothing wrong has happened. They are going to take care without much problem.
See, if you think that you need some extra lawyers, you can always hire from your pocket and tell him to collaborate with the panel so that you get an expertise.
Lawyers are professional and they are good enough. I can say. I know of one lawyer also personally. They are good. They are good.
The problem, the way we collaborate, the lawyer do not collaborate. One lawyer giving it, that other lawyer is very difficult. Very difficult. I don't see all this. Yeah. So one case to buy, sir.
Yeah, please, sir. Yes,
Yeah, I have few comments. One thing is, those who are having nursing homes should have indemnity coverage to cover the hospital negligences as well, which cover the staff nurses, your assistants, and maybe assistant doctors. Secondly, what the insurance companies advise for taking the amount of indemnity coverage is you should go back to the highest claim in your respective branch. Luckily, urology is much on a lower side as compared to neurosurgeons and plastic surgeons. As sir said, it is about 1 crore. So one should always have a coverage little more than that. And secondly, there are some private middlemen like Apex Insurance. As sir said, doctors, those who have come together, have a better lawyers. Unfortunately, what is the experience about Apex? Many people must have taken that. They assure you lot many things, but in practice, I don't know how much they really deliver. So I have taken a membership just for a peace of mind, because once there was a small residual stone from my own case, and the person had gone in court just to trouble me, and the lawyer which they had put, he had knowing nothing. Luckily, I had been in court, and it was just 10-20 minutes dialogue with the judge. She had verbatim written what I had written on. I had given my this thing in the court of law. So unless the lawyers are reliable, means it is good that lawyers know this.
Let me cut short. The lawyers may not know about every disease and complication and everything. So you have to put your head into it. You have to study. You have to educate the lawyer that this is my defenses. If you do not do, you don't know what would happen next.
Yes. What about the people, as you said, that you have to ensure everybody is recognized doctor? If you are working as a full-time in a government hospital or in a corporate hospital or something, you need to take your...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nowadays in government doctor also, particular name, they get the, this has happened.
So
Everyone should have.
If you are working in a fan hospital,
Right.
medical college,
Right.
and I am working as a full-time, it is not my decision.
But sir, nowadays it comes because with the name itself it comes. Sir, 2-3 cases.
No, but if it comes, it is not correct. No, it should not be.
I know that it should not, but nowadays things are happening. And we must have I think the insurance.
It will come to the doctor. There is a very big important case which happened 3-4 years back. When it happened, there was some suicide.
Right.
Actually, the head of the unit were...
I have to go back to, I know jail.
Yeah. Being tried in jail.
Yes. Everyone must have a insurance. Everyone you are working, sir. Earlier it was in government, like we were the shit. The correction would never have trouble.
Legal term.
Only limited to that, hopefully consultations are not bad. But if you are the oil plant or something, a case company, or package your that, you are not around
Hello.
Sir, in government, we also is coming trouble.
Criminality, you are not.
Yes.
No. Sir, in government is also better to have it, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, one comment. Yeah. See, the amount of insurance to be taken, amount of insurance to be taken is actually unpredictable. It depends how much the court awards, depends on individuals earning. And if by chance you have a foreigner, and this happened in one of the case where he was a dermatologist. We remember that famous case, and he was awarded say 6 crore rupees for a simple allergy reaction for this, because the amount of loss that person entertained because of this malpractice, because of the negligence on the part of the doctor, it amounted to, they calculated the whole thing and they awarded 6 crore rupees. So this is an endless thing. How much you insure yourself, it depends on, see, always be careful what is the type of your patient. And if the patient's income is too high, the Dr. Kulkarni must be knowing all these things, those who have foreign patients and all the things, this kind of a thing is a very common thing. Regarding the government thing, almost all the government companies comes under the Consumers Protection Act, because somewhere they charge. Special room patients, if they are charging any amount, that means the whole hospital is under the Consumer Protection Act. But if you are employed by somebody, your employer is liable to it. But as a government servant, the employer will have all the right to deduct from your salary whatever they want, and they can remove it from service, etc.
So better to have the indemnity for everyone.
Sir, what Submit sir asked, in law we had this topic. What Submit sir just asked. There are two types of problem. One is consumer, one is criminal. Criminal, everyone is liable. Even the police is liable for criminal. Consumer, those government doctors who are working in a government institute only and getting salary by the government are not responsible for consumer cases.
That was a
Hello.
earlier.
Second most important point in defense. Hello. The second most important point in a defense is highlighted by Phoenix. Hello. That if something you label it as a complication, it need not be as a negligence. So all the time you have to find out that yes, this is a standard complication reported in literature, then you can be saved.
So well, thank you everybody for the patient listening. Thank you all the speakers and the moderators. Now is the time for lunch.
Thank you very much.
Lunch is served at ground floor of DPC.